The metal floor is so cold it burns through the thick wool trousers, through the cotton-long underwear, through everything. Anna feels the cold crawling up into her bones, settling there like something alive. Her thighs are wet. She does not know if it is sweat, or if someone spilled their canteen, or if the girl next to her lost control of her bladder 20 minutes ago when the flak first started hitting close. The wetness is warm at first, then cold, then just part of the body, accepted like everything else. The Li-2 transport plane groans around them like a wounded animal. Every rivet in the fuselage vibrates at a different frequency, creating a symphony of discordant metal sounds that grind against the teeth. Anna has her eyes fixed on a single point across the cabin, a crack in the aluminum skin, hairline thin, where a bullet passed through on a previous mission and was never repaired. Through it, she can see the night sky flashing orange whenever anti-aircraft fire explodes near them. The flashes come faster now. Her hands are wrapped around the stock of her PPSH-41 submachine gun. The wood is worn smooth from other hands, other women who held it before her in training. She counts the ridges in the wood grain with her fingertips, a pattern she has memorized over weeks of drills. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. The counting keeps her brain occupied, keeps it from screaming. The woman to her left is named Zoya. Anna only knows this because they slept in adjacent beds at the training camp for 6 weeks, and Zoya talks in her sleep. She speaks Ukrainian in her dreams, curses at someone named Mikhail, begs him not to go somewhere. In the dim swinging light of the cabin, Zoya's face is gray. She is vomiting silently into her own lap, too scared to lean forward, too scared to make a sound. So the vomit just pools in the fold of her trousers and spreads warm against her thighs. She does not wipe it away. She does not move at all. The woman to Anna's right is Katya, the group leader. Katya is 31 years old and looks 50. Her face is all sharp angles, cheekbones like knife blades, eyes sunk so deep they reflect no light. She has done this before, 2 times. She came back both times. Anna watches her now, trying to borrow some of whatever lives inside Katya that kept her alive. But Katya's hands are shaking too. She holds them pressed between her knees to hide it. But Anna sees. Anna sees everything. The cabin smells like aviation fuel, sweat, vomit, and something else. Something metallic and sweet that Anna recognized from the hospital during the worst nights. It is the smell of fear so profound that the body begins to shut down non-essential functions. It is the smell of bowels loosening, of adrenaline overwhelming every system. It is the smell of 20 young women who are about to jump into darkness and probably die. The jump master emerges from the cockpit. He is not the same man who briefed them at the airfield. This one is younger, maybe 30, with a bandage wrapped around his left hand that has bled through completely. The blood is dried brown now, old, ignored. He holds onto a support cable and makes his way down the center of the cabin, stepping over legs, over packs, over the girl who has curled into a fetal position on the floor and cannot be persuaded to stand up. He stops in front of Katya. They look at each other. He does not speak. He just shakes his head slightly once. Katya closes her eyes. When she opens them, something has changed. The shaking in her hands stops. The jumpmaster moves to the rear door mechanism. He cranks the manual release because the hydraulic system was hit 20 minutes ago and everything is on backup now. The crank screeches with each rotation, a sound like fingernails on slate, but amplified through the metal skin of the plane. The door begins to lower. The wind that enters is not like any wind Anna has ever felt. It is alive and violent, and it hits them like a physical force, slamming into chests, stealing breath, turning the cabin into a hurricane. The temperature drops 30 degrees in 3 seconds. The swinging light bulb shatters against the ceiling, spraying glass. And now the only light comes from the open door and the orange flashes of flak. Through the opening, Anna sees the sky. It is lit up like a nightmare. Searchlights stab upward from the ground, crossing and recrossing, hunting for them. Tracer fire rises in lazy arcs that accelerate as they climb, green and red and white streaks that look beautiful, until you remember each one is a piece of metal traveling fast enough to tear a person in half. The flak bursts are everywhere, black clouds that bloom orange from within, and the plane bucks and shudders through each one. A woman near the front, Anna does not know her name, stands up suddenly. Her face is blank, peaceful almost. She walks toward the open door. For a moment, everyone thinks she is obeying some unheard command, moving into position to jump. But she does not stop at the edge. She keeps walking, right out into nothing, and she does not scream. Her parachute was still clipped to the cable inside the plane. She falls silently, spinning, until the darkness swallows her and the flak bursts continue as if she never existed. Nobody speaks. Nobody moves. Anna's body is doing things she is not controlling. Her teeth are chattering so hard she bites her own tongue, and her mouth fills with blood. She swallows it. The blood is warm. It reminds her she is still alive. Her bladder lets go, and she feels the urine running down her leg, hot at first, then cooling, then just there, part of the uniform now. She does not care. Nobody will care. In 5 minutes, they will all be dead or alone in the forest, and nobody will ever know or ask. Katya grabs Anna's face in both hands. Katya's palms are cold and rough, and they press against Anna's cheeks hard enough to hurt. Katya forces Anna to look at her, eye to eye, inches apart. Katya does not speak. The wind is too loud, the engines too loud, the flak too loud. But her mouth forms words anyway, slowly, deliberately, and Anna reads them on her lips. You are already dead. Katya holds the gaze for 3 more seconds. Then she lets go. The green light above the door flashes on. It is small and red, not green, but they all know what it means. The jumpmaster waves his arm toward the opening, a sweeping gesture, urgent, final. The first woman goes. She runs and leaps and disappears. The second, the third. The line moves forward. Some scream as they jump. Some are silent. Some stumble at the edge and are pushed by the women behind them because there is no time. No time for fear now. Zoya goes. She does not scream. She just vanishes into the lit-up sky, her body silhouetted for one frame against an orange flak burst. And then she is gone. Anna's turn comes too fast. She is at the edge. The wind tears at her face, tries to push her back. Below, there is nothing but darkness and fire and trees she cannot see but knows are there, waiting. She looks down, and her brain refuses to process the information. It shows her pictures instead. Her mother's face, the face of a baby she held in the hospital last year who died anyway, the face of a German soldier she saw once through a window in Minsk before she escaped, young like her, scared like her. She steps. The plane disappears instantly. The wind grabs her and spins her, and she is tumbling, unable to tell sky from ground, unable to tell if she is falling or flying or already dead. The noise is everything, the wind screaming in her ears so loud it becomes silence. just pressure, just the sensation of being unmade. Then the parachute opens. The jerk is violent beyond anything she imagined. Her harness drives up into her thighs and crotch and shoulders, with enough force to lift the breath from her lungs. For a moment she sees stars, actual stars, pinpricks of light behind her eyes. Then she is hanging, swinging, and the silence rushes in. The wind is gone. The engine noise is gone. The flak is distant now, muffled. Someone else's war happening somewhere else. She hangs beneath the canopy in absolute darkness, swinging like a pendulum, and she can hear her own heartbeat for the first time in hours. It is fast, too fast, but steady. Still beating, still here. She looks up. The canopy is visible only as a slightly darker shape against the black sky, a circle of nothing. She looks down. The ground is still invisible. She could be hanging 100 feet up or 10 feet up. She has no way to know. Then she hears it. A scream, close below her to the left. It is not a battle cry. It is a woman's scream, high and pure and full of terror. And it goes on and then stops abruptly, cut off in the middle, like a hand clamped over a mouth, or like impact. Anna grips the risers. She tries to remember the training. Knees bent, feet together. Roll on impact. She bends her knees. She waits. The trees come faster than she expects. 1 second there is nothing below her. The next there are branches, dark shapes rushing up at incredible speed. She crashes through them. Pine needles lash her face, her arms. Branches whip across her chest, her legs. Something catches her harness and spins her, then releases, and she falls again. Another branch catches her, this one thick enough to stop her completely, and she hangs upside down, tangled, 10 feet above the ground. Her head is ringing. Blood runs into her eyes from a cut somewhere on her scalp. Her left shoulder is on fire, dislocated or broken, she cannot tell. She hangs there, swinging slightly, and listens. The forest is silent. No more screams, no gunfire, just the wind in the branches and the distant fading sound of the transport plane as it turns back toward the east, toward safety, toward tomorrow. Anna reaches slowly for her knife. Her fingers find the handle, pull it from the sheath. She begins to cut the harness straps, one by one, working by touch, because she cannot see anything in the darkness below the trees. The first strap parts with a snap. She drops 6 inches, caught by another strap. The second strap parts. She drops again, catches, hangs. The third strap. She is falling now, too fast, and she hits the ground, shoulder first. The impact driving the air from her lungs in a rush that leaves her paralyzed, unable to breathe, unable to move, just lying on the cold forest floor with her mouth open and her chest heaving and no air coming in. For 5 seconds, 10 seconds, she thinks this is death. This is what it feels like. The inability to draw breath, the panic, the darkness closing in. Then her lungs unlock and she sucks in air so desperately that she coughs, chokes, rolls onto her side, and vomits into the pine needles. She vomits until there is nothing left, then lies there, cheek pressed to the cold ground, breathing in the smell of wet earth and rotting leaves and her own waste. Above her, through the trees, the sky continues to flash with flak bursts. The plane is gone now. She is alone. She does not know yet that Zoya's parachute failed. She does not know that Katya landed in a clearing and was met by a German patrol before she could cut herself free. She does not know that of the 20 women who jumped, only 7 are still alive in this forest, and by morning, only 3 will remain. She knows nothing except the cold ground against her cheek and the blood drying on her face, and the absolute, terrifying silence of the trees. She forces herself to move. She pushes up onto her hands and knees. Her left shoulder screams. She ignores it. She finds her rifle in the darkness by touch, feels the familiar wood grain, counts the ridges without thinking. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. She begins to crawl toward the darkest part of the forest, away from the clearing, away from the sound of voices she hears now in the distance, German voices, shouting orders, spreading out to hunt. The room is too warm. This is the first thing that registers, the wrongness of it. Outside, the October wind cuts through the forest, through the streets of the small Polish town, through the cracks in every window not belonging to the German headquarters. But inside this room, a cast-iron stove glows red in the corner, stuffed with coal, pumping heat into the space until the air feels thick and wet against the skin. Major Klaus Brandt sits behind a wooden desk that was stolen 2 years ago from a Polish schoolteacher. He does not know this. He does not care. The desk is large and solid, and that is all that matters. On its surface, papers are arranged in neat stacks. Reports from reconnaissance units, weather forecasts, requests for supplies, casualty lists. Brandt moves through them methodically, his pen scratching signatures onto each one, his eyes moving but not really seeing. He is 53 years old. He has been a soldier since he was 18. He fought in the Great War as a boy, saw the trenches, saw the gas, saw friends die screaming. He survived. He built a career. He rose through the ranks of the new army, the clean army, the army that was supposed to be different. Now he sits in a warm room in occupied Poland and signs papers. While outside, young men die for reasons that become less clear with each passing month. The door opens without a knock. This is unusual. Brandt looks up. The man who enters is younger, maybe 30, wearing the uniform of the SS with the insignia of a Standartenführer. His name is Otto Hesse. His face is smooth, unmarked by war, the face of a man who has never been close enough to see the whites of an enemy's eyes. He carries a leather portfolio under one arm and moves with the confidence of someone who knows that doors open for him, always. Brandt does not stand. He does not offer coffee. He simply watches as Hesse crosses the room and places the portfolio on the desk, directly on top of the papers Brandt was signing. "Major," Hesse says. His voice is pleasant, almost musical. "I have something for you, from Berlin." Brandt looks at the portfolio. It is sealed with red wax, stamped with an eagle. Official, important, the kind of document that changes things. "I have reports to file," Brandt says. "Casualty lists. My men died yesterday. Their families need to be notified. Their names need to be recorded." Hesse smiles slightly, a thin expression that does not reach his eyes. "These men will have more deaths to avenge if you read what is in that folder. The war is changing, Major. We must change with it." He turns and leaves without another word, closing the door behind him with exaggerated gentleness. Brandt sits for a long moment, looking at the portfolio. The stove ticks as the metal expands with heat. Somewhere outside, a truck engine starts, then fades. He reaches out and breaks the seal. The document inside is typed on thick paper, official stationery, multiple copies. It is dated 3 weeks ago. It is marked Top Secret. It is signed by Field Marshal Keitel, which means it comes directly from the Führer's desk, which means it is not a suggestion, but a command. Brandt begins to read. The language is formal, bureaucratic. the language of men who write about death without ever having to look into the eyes of the dying. It refers to previous orders, the Commissar Order of 1941, the Night and Fog Decree, the various directives that have slowly, systematically dismantled the laws of war that Brandt learned as a young man. This new order extends those earlier ones. It clarifies. It expands. Paragraph 3 catches his attention first. He reads it twice, then a third time, his lips moving slightly with the words. Female combatants captured behind German lines, including but not limited to pilots, medical personnel, and support staff, are to be treated as irregular combatants. They do not qualify for prisoner of war status. Interrogation at the point of capture is authorized. Subsequent disposition is at the discretion of the commanding officer on site, with the understanding that transportation to permanent facilities is impractical due to partisan activity in rear areas. Brandt knows what these words mean. He has been a soldier long enough to translate bureaucratic language into reality. Interrogation at the point of capture means whatever needs to be done to get information before the prisoner dies. Disposition at the discretion of the commanding officer means no oversight, no reports, no accountability. Transportation impractical means kill them here and bury them where they fall. He sets the paper down. His hand is steady. He does not know if this is good or bad. There is more. Paragraph 7. Personnel captured while parachuting, whether military uniform is worn or not, are presumptively engaged in espionage and sabotage activities. Standard Geneva Convention protections regarding uniformed combatants do not apply to individuals descending by parachute, as the act of landing behind friendly lines constitutes a hostile act separate from conventional engagement. Such personnel are to be separated from other prisoners and processed according to paragraph 3. Brandt imagines it. A woman floating down under a silk canopy, her feet not yet touching the ground, and somewhere below, a soldier with a rifle and this order in his pocket. The woman is still in the air, still defenseless, and the soldier is being told that she is not a soldier, but something else, something less, something that can be killed before she even lands. He thinks of his own daughter. She is 16. She lives in Hamburg with her mother. She writes him letters about school, about boys, about the bombing raids that keep them in the cellar all night. She wants to be a nurse. She wants to help people. He folds the paper and places it back in the portfolio. He does not know what he feels. He is a soldier. He follows orders. This is what he has done for 35 years. The door opens again. This time it is his adjutant, a young lieutenant named Friedrich Weiss, just 22 years old, fresh from flight school, assigned to Brandt's command 2 months ago. Friedrich's face is pink from the cold, his blonde hair plastered to his forehead where his cap sat. He salutes, clicks his heels, all the proper motions. Major, the morning patrol reports activity near the forest. Partisans, possibly. They heard aircraft during the night. Transport planes. Low altitude. Brandt looks at him. Friedrich is eager, earnest, the kind of young man who still believes in glory, in honor, in the rightness of the cause. He has not yet seen enough to know that war is just death arranged in different patterns. Sit down, Lieutenant, Brandt says. Friedrich hesitates, then sits in the chair across from the desk. He looks at the portfolio, then back at Brandt. Waiting. Brandt opens the portfolio again. He pulls out a second document, A map marked with the locations of recent partisan activity, parachute drops, sabotage incidents. He spreads it on the desk between them. There were drops last night, Brandt says. Here, here, and here. He points to 3 locations in the forest. Soviet paratroopers. Saboteurs. Possibly women. Friedrich's eyes widen slightly. Women? Women, Brandt confirms. Nurses. Radio operators. Sometimes pilots. They jump in. They link up with partisans. They cause trouble. They blow up trains. They shoot officers in the back. They are a problem. Friedrich is silent, processing this. He has never seen a woman soldier. He has seen women in uniform, secretaries, auxiliaries, nurses in field hospitals, but never women with rifles, women who jump out of planes, women who kill. There is a new order, Brandt continues. He pulls the typed document from the portfolio and slides it across the desk. Read this. Friedrich reads. His lips move slightly, like Brandt's did. His brow furrows. When he finishes, he looks up, and there is something in his eyes that Brandt recognizes. Confusion. The first crack in the foundation. Major, Friedrich says slowly, this says we are to shoot them, on sight, even medics, even nurses. Yes, but the Geneva Convention, Brandt interrupts, is a piece of paper. This is also a piece of paper. The difference is that this one has the Führer's signature, and the other one does not matter anymore. Friedrich stares at the document. He reads paragraph 3 again, then paragraph 7. He sets it down carefully, as if it might burn him. I am a pilot, he says. I fight other pilots, in the air. That is what I do. Brandt watches him. He has seen this before, many times, in many young men. The moment when the ideal of war collides with the reality. Some of them adapt. Some of them break. Most of them just keep going, doing what they are told, not thinking too much about it. Tomorrow, Brandt says, you will fly patrol over the drop zones. You will look for survivors. You will report their locations. If they are in the open, if they are running, if they are easy targets. He pauses. You will engage. Friedrich's face goes pale. Engage? From the air? They will be on the ground, defenseless. They are not defenseless, Brandt says flatly. They have rifles. They have knives. They have training. And they are behind our lines, which means every one of them who reaches the partisans will kill German soldiers, German boys, your age, younger. Friedrich says nothing. His hands are resting on his knees. They are shaking slightly, barely visible, but Brandt sees. You may go, Brandt says. Friedrich stands. He salutes. He turns and walks to the door. His hand is on the handle when Brandt speaks again. Lieutenant. Friedrich stops, does not turn around. My daughter wants to be a nurse, Brandt says. She is 16. If she were 22 and Russian, and she jumped into Germany to kill our soldiers, what would you want me to do? Friedrich stands frozen, his back to the desk. The question hangs in the warm, thick air. I don't know, Major, he says finally. His voice is quiet, barely audible. Neither do I, Brandt says. But the Führer knows, and that is what matters. Friedrich leaves. The door closes softly behind him. Brandt sits alone in the warm room. He looks at the papers on his desk, the casualty lists, the requests for supplies, the weather forecasts. He picks up his pen. He resumes signing. Outside, Friedrich walks through the cold streets of the occupied town. Soldiers pass him, salute him. He does not see them. His mind is full of images, women falling through the sky, silk canopies opening, rifles raised from below. He thinks of his mother, his sisters, the girls he knew in school. He thinks of them in uniform, in a foreign forest, running from men with guns. He reaches his quarters, a small room in a requisitioned house. He sits on the edge of his bed. He looks at his hands. They are still shaking. On his nightstand there is a photograph of his family, his parents, his 2 younger sisters, all smiling at some long-ago picnic. He picks it up. He looks at his sisters' faces. One is 14, the other 11. They are children. They will never be soldiers. They will never jump out of planes. He sets the photograph down carefully, face down, so he does not have to see them anymore. In the forest, 20 kilometers away, Anna lies in the darkness beneath a pine tree. She does not know about the order. She does not know about Friedrich, about Brandt, about the warm room and the cold decisions. She knows only that she is alive, that her shoulder screams with every movement, that somewhere in the trees, men are hunting. She hears them now, voices, distant, spreading out in a line. They are coming this way. They will find her tracks in the morning light. They have dogs, probably, and flashlights, and rifles, and an order from Berlin that says, she is not a soldier, but something else, something that does not deserve to live. She begins to crawl again, deeper into the darkness, away from the voices, away from the warm room and the cold decisions, away from everything except the instinct to survive. One more hour, one more minute, one more breath. The forest swallows her completely. The ground is moving. Anna lies with her cheek pressed to the pine needles and feels the earth tremble beneath her. It is a deep vibration, not loud, but felt in the bones, traveling up through her jaw, her skull, her brain. Somewhere far away, heavy vehicles are moving. Trucks, probably. Maybe tanks. The Germans are searching. She does not know how long she has been lying here. Minutes? Hours? Time has lost meaning in the darkness. Her left shoulder is a universe of pain with its own gravity, pulling everything toward it. She has stopped trying to move it. She holds it against her body with her right arm, cradling it like something precious, something broken. The bleeding on her scalp has slowed to a trickle. The blood has dried in her hair, matting it to her face, pulling at her skin with every tiny movement. She can taste it on her lips, copper and salt. She is thirsty, so thirsty that her tongue feels swollen, too big for her mouth, scraping against her teeth like sandpaper. She needs to move. She knows this. The voices she heard earlier have faded, but they will return. They will return with light, with dogs, with the methodical patience of men who have done this before. She needs to find water. She needs to find cover. She needs to find the others, if any of the others are still alive. She pushes herself up onto her knees. The world swims. Darkness presses in from all sides, dotted with floating specks of light that are not real, that come from inside her own damaged head. She waits for the spinning to stop. It does not. Not completely, but it slows enough that she can think. Her rifle is still there, strapped across her back. She feels for it, runs her fingers over the wood, the metal. It is intact. Her medical bag is still strapped to her thigh. She pats it, feels the shape of bandages, the hard cylinders of morphine syrettes. She has tools. She has weapons. She is not helpless. She crawls. There is no path, no direction, except away from the voices, away from the clearing where she landed. She moves on hands and knees, dragging her left leg which landed wrong and now protests with every movement. The pine needles are soft, but they hide rocks and roots that dig into her palms, her knees. She cannot see them, only feel them, Only adjust and keep moving. The forest is not silent. She hears things now that she did not hear before. Small animals scattering, owls calling, the creak of branches in the wind. Every sound makes her freeze, makes her heart stop, makes her wait and listen and breathe as quietly as possible. But none of the sounds are human. Not yet. She crawls for what feels like hours. The ground slopes downward gradually, then more steeply. She slides part of the way, unable to control her descent, crashing through underbrush that tears at her clothes, her skin. She ends up at the bottom of a shallow ravine, lying in a patch of ferns, staring up at the strip of sky visible through the trees. The sky is changing. The absolute blackness is softening, becoming deep gray. Morning is coming. She can see the shapes of branches now, not just feel them. She can see the outline of her own hand when she holds it up. Morning is coming, and with it, the hunters. She forces herself up again. The ravine offers some cover, steep sides, thick vegetation, a small stream at the bottom that she can hear but not yet see. She follows the sound, stumbling, sliding, until her boots hit water. The stream is shallow, no more than ankle deep, but the water is moving and clear. She drops to her knees and puts her face into it, drinks greedily, ignoring the cold that aches in her teeth, her throat. She drinks until her stomach cramps, then drinks more. When she lifts her head, she sees something in the water downstream, a shape caught against a fallen branch, dark fabric, a body. She moves toward it without thinking, her legs carrying her through the cold water, her right hand reaching out. It is a woman, face down in the stream, tangled in branches, her parachute harness still attached, but the canopy itself gone, torn away somewhere upstream. Anna turns her over. It is Zoya. Her eyes are open, wide open, staring at nothing. Her face is peaceful, almost surprised. There is no blood, no obvious wound. She could be sleeping, except for the water moving around her, except for the stillness, except for the way her head lolls when Anna touches her. Anna does not know how long she kneels there, holding Zoya's face in her hands. The water flows past them, cold and indifferent. Somewhere above, birds are beginning to sing, greeting the dawn, oblivious. Zoya's parachute failed, or she landed wrong, or something broke inside her when she hit. It does not matter now. She is dead. She will never curse Mikhail in her sleep again. She will never go home. Anna closes Zoya's eyes. It takes 2 tries. Her fingers are shaking and the eyelids are stiff, resistant. But she does it. She closes them and then she sits back on her heels and looks at the body of the woman who slept next to her for 6 weeks, who vomited silently in the plain, who jumped into darkness and never landed alive. She should bury her. She knows this, but she has no shovel, no time, no strength. The Germans are coming. She can feel it now, a certainty that has nothing to do with sound or sight. They are coming. She takes Zoya's medical bag. It is still strapped to her thigh, full of supplies that Anna will need. She takes Zoya's compass, her knife, the extra ammunition she carried in her pockets. She does these things mechanically, without thinking, her hands moving while her mind is somewhere else, floating above the stream, watching. When she is done, she looks at Zoya one last time. The body lies half in the water, half out, already beginning to look less like a person and more like a thing. Anna wants to say something, some prayer, some words, but nothing comes. Her mouth is dry again already. Her throat is closed. She leaves her there. She walks upstream, away from the body, away from the clearing, away from everything except the need to survive. The forest brightens slowly. Gray becomes pale gray, becomes something approaching light. Anna can see now, really see, the world around her. Trees, mostly pine, with some birch mixed in. Undergrowth of ferns and bushes. The ground covered in needles and leaves and the scattered bones of small animals killed by larger ones. She walks for an hour, maybe 2. The pain in her shoulder has settled into a dull throb that she can almost ignore. Her leg is better, or she is just getting used to the limp. She stops frequently to listen, to watch, to make sure she is not being followed. She is not being followed. Not yet. Around midday, she finds the clearing. She smells it before she sees it. The sharp, acrid smell of burned meat, of gunpowder, of things that should not be in a forest. She approaches slowly, carefully, keeping low, using the underbrush for cover. The clearing is perhaps 50 meters across, a natural opening in the trees where something, fire, wind, old age, has cleared the ground. In the center, there is a parachute. It is spread across the grass like a huge white flower, still attached to its harness, still attached to the woman who wore it. Anna cannot see her face. The woman is lying on her back, her arms spread, her legs twisted at angles that are not natural. Around her, the grass is trampled. Boot prints everywhere. German boots, the pattern distinct even in the disturbed earth. They found her. They found her, and they did not take her prisoner. Anna moves closer, keeping to the edge of the clearing, using the trees for cover. She can see more now. The woman was shot. Multiple times. The front of her jacket is dark with blood that has dried to black. Her face is visible from this angle. Young, maybe 19, with dark hair and open eyes and a small hole just above her left eyebrow. They shot her in the face. After she was already dead, maybe. Or while she was still alive, looking at them, begging. Anna does not know. She does not want to know. There are other signs. Cigarette butts on the ground. A discarded ration tin. The Germans stayed here for a while after they killed her. They ate, maybe. Smoked. Talked. Then they moved on. Anna stares at the body for a long time. She should feel something. Grief. Rage. Fear. But there is nothing. Just a cold emptiness. A numbness that has settled into her bones like the cold from the stream. She is becoming something else out here. Something that can look at a dead woman and feel nothing. Something that can keep walking. She turns away from the clearing. She does not take anything from this body. There is nothing to take. The afternoon passes in walking. Anna finds a game trail, follows it deeper into the forest, away from the clearings, away from the places where humans might go. She is looking for something but does not know what. Shelter, water, signs of the others. Anything. She finds the field hospital at dusk. It is not a hospital. Not really. Just a collection of tents in a hollow, hidden from the air by the trees, hidden from the ground by the terrain. But there are red crosses painted on the tent roofs, faded now, barely visible. And there are bodies. Anna stops at the edge of the hollow and stares. There are maybe 20 bodies, some in German uniforms, some in Soviet uniforms, some in no uniforms at all. Just the ragged clothes of civilians, partisans, people caught in the middle. They are spread across the hollow in no particular pattern, as if they were running when they died, or begging, or trying to hide. The tents are collapsed, slashed open. Medical supplies are scattered everywhere, bandages unwound and blowing in the wind. bottles smashed, a wooden leg lying alone in the grass, someone's glasses, the lenses shattered, hanging from a branch. In the center of the hollow there is a nurse. She is sitting against a tree, her legs straight out in front of her, her hands folded in her lap. She is wearing a white apron over her uniform, the apron stained dark with blood. Her head is tilted back, her face turned up to the sky, her eyes closed. She could be resting, sleeping, except for the wound in her chest, except for the way her hands are folded so neatly, except for the fact that someone arranged her like this after she died, propped her up against the tree like a doll. Anna walks toward her. The grass is wet with evening dew. Her boots leave dark tracks. She stops in front of the dead nurse and looks at her face. She is young, maybe Anna's age. Her hair is light brown, pulled back in a braid. Her hands are small, the hands of someone who worked with them, who used them to heal. There is a wedding ring on her left hand, thin gold, almost invisible against her skin. Anna kneels in front of her. She does not know why. Respect, maybe. Or just the need to be close to another woman, even a dead one, even one who cannot see her or speak to her, or help her in any way. On the ground beside the nurse, half hidden in the grass, there is a photograph. Anna picks it up. It is a small picture, creased and worn, of a man in a Soviet uniform, smiling, young. Her husband, probably, or her brother. Someone she loved, someone she carried with her into this place, into this war. Anna puts the photograph in her pocket. She does not know why. She just does. She looks around the hollow, the bodies, the destruction, the silence. This was a medical station, a place for the wounded, the dying, the helpless. And someone came here and killed them all. Not in battle. There are no weapons here, no signs of fighting. They were just killed, methodically, one by one, until no one was left. The new order, the Führer's signature, the words she does not know, but is beginning to understand. She should leave. The Germans who did this might come back. They might be close, but her legs will not move. She sits in the grass beside the dead nurse and watches the light fade, watches the shadows lengthen, watches the bodies become silhouettes against the darkening sky. In her pocket, the photograph presses against her thigh. A man she will never meet, smiling at a woman who will never smile back. Night falls completely. The forest is silent except for the wind and the small sounds of animals beginning their nocturnal lives. Anna sits in the darkness among the dead and feels nothing, absolutely nothing, except the cold and the pain and the overwhelming need to keep breathing. Sometime in the night she hears aircraft overhead, a single engine flying low, searching. She looks up through the trees and sees the silhouette of a Messerschmitt against the stars, circling like a predator waiting for something to move. She does not move. She sits perfectly still among the bodies, indistinguishable from them in the darkness, and waits for the plane to go away. It circles 3 times. Then it turns east and disappears, its engine sound fading into nothing. Anna stays where she is. She does not sleep. She does not close her eyes. She sits with the dead and watches the sky and waits for morning, waits for whatever comes next, waits for the moment when she will have to move again. The night is very long. The cockpit smells like oil and leather and the ghost of someone else's fear. Friedrich sits strapped into the narrow seat, his hands resting on the control column, his eyes moving constantly across the instruments, the sky, the horizon. The Messerschmitt Bf 109 hums around him, a machine of such precision that it feels alive, breathing, waiting for him to make a mistake so it can kill him. He has been flying for 2 hours. The sun is fully up now, burning through the morning haze, turning the forest below into a carpet of green and gold that stretches to the horizon. It is beautiful. He hates that it is beautiful. The patrol area is a grid square on his map, clipped to his knee. 3 drop zones from last night, marked with pencil, circled in red. His job is simple. Fly low, look for survivors, report their positions, if they are in the open, if they are running, if they are easy targets. He is authorized to engage. He has never shot at a person on the ground. He has never shot at anyone who could not shoot back. The forest slides beneath him, endless and indifferent. He flies at 200 meters, slow enough to see details, fast enough to make himself a difficult target if someone below decides to try their luck with a rifle. Not that they would hit him. Not that it matters. He thinks about the document Brandt showed him. The words are burned into his brain now, repeating like a song he cannot forget. Female combatants do not qualify. Interrogation at the point of capture. Transportation impractical. He thinks about his sisters. He thinks about the photograph on his nightstand, face down now, hidden from view. He thinks about the nurse in the hollow, the one he saw on the second pass, the one he is trying very hard not to think about. He saw her from the air. Just a glimpse, a flash of white against the green, something moving among the trees. He circled back, dropped lower, and saw the hollow, the tents, the bodies scattered like dolls someone had thrown away. And in the middle of it all, one body that was not like the others. She was sitting against a tree. He could see her clearly. Dark hair, pale face, hands folded in her lap. For one stupid, hopeful second, he thought she might be alive. A survivor. Someone to report. Someone to save. Then he saw the others. The blood. The stillness. The way nothing moved except the wind in the grass. He circled 3 times, low enough that his shadow passed over her, over all of them. On the 3rd pass, he saw something else. Movement at the edge of the hollow. A figure crouching, watching him. Another woman. Alive. He had his finger on the trigger. The plane was lined up, the angle perfect, the range close enough that he could not miss. One burst from the cannons, and she would be gone, added to the count. Another problem solved. He did not fire. He pulled up, gained altitude, and flew away. He told himself it was because he needed to report the position first, because that was the procedure, because he was following orders. But he knew, even as he thought it, that it was a lie. He did not fire because she was sitting among the dead, because she looked like his sister, because he could not. Now he is flying back toward the hollow, drawn by something he does not understand. The fuel gauge shows half full. He has time. He has excuses. He is just checking, just making sure, just doing his job. The hollow appears below him, a dark scar in the green. He banks, descends, brings the plane down to 100 meters, then 50. Close enough to see individual faces, if there are any faces left to see. She is still there. She has moved, though. She is no longer sitting at the edge. She is walking slowly, painfully, limping through the trees, away from the hollow. She moves like someone who is hurt, someone who has been running for too long, someone who does not have much left. Friedrich watches her. She does not look up. She does not know he is there, or she does not care. She just keeps walking, one step at a time, disappearing into the trees, reappearing in clearings, a small, dark figure against the vast, indifferent forest. He could kill her so easily. A press of the thumb, a burst of fire, and she would be gone. No one would ever know. No one would ask. It would be a report filed, a mission accomplished, a problem solved. His thumb does not move. He follows her instead. He climbs slightly, circles wide, keeps her in sight as she moves through the forest. He tells himself he is tracking her, reporting her position, doing his job. But he is not reporting. He is just watching. She stops at a stream. He sees her drop to her knees, put her face in the water, drink. He sees her sit back, wipe her mouth, look around. For a moment, she looks directly up at the sky, directly at him. He is too high for her to see his face, too far for her to know he is watching. But still, for that moment he feels seen. She stands. She keeps walking. Friedrich follows. The fuel gauge drops lower. He should turn back. He should return to base, file his report, pretend he saw nothing. But he does not turn. He keeps flying, keeps watching, keeps following this woman through the forest like a predator that has forgotten how to kill. He thinks about what his father would say. His father fought in the last war, the Great War, the one that was supposed to end all wars. He came home with a limp and a medal and a hatred for everything French, everything English, everything that was not German. He would tell Friedrich to do his duty, to follow orders, to be a man. He thinks about what his mother would say. His mother who cries every time he leaves, who writes him letters every week, who still tucks his sisters into bed at night, even though they are too old for it. She would tell him to come home safe, to be careful, to remember who he is. He does not know who he is anymore. The woman below stops again. She has found something, a clearing, a body, something that makes her freeze, makes her stand perfectly still for a long moment. Friedrich circles, watches, waits. She kneels beside something. He cannot see what. She stays there for a long time, not moving, just kneeling in the grass. Then she stands, puts something in her pocket, and walks on. Friedrich looks at his fuel gauge. It is nearly empty. He has to go back. He has to. He takes one last look at the woman below. She is small now, almost invisible, just a speck moving through the infinite green. He could find her again. He could come back. He could. He turns the plane toward home. The forest slides away beneath him, becoming smaller, becoming just a map, just a grid square, just territory to be controlled. The woman disappears into the trees, and he does not see her again. The flight back takes 20 minutes. He lands, taxis, cuts the engine. The sudden silence is deafening. He sits in the cockpit for a long time, not moving, not thinking, just breathing. When he finally climbs out, his adjutant is waiting. A young soldier, barely 18, with a clipboard and a questioning look. "Any contacts, Lieutenant?" Friedrich looks at him. The boy's face is smooth, unmarked, eager. He has never killed anyone. He has never watched a woman walk through a forest and wondered if he should kill her. "No contacts," Friedrich says. "Nothing to report." The boy writes something on the clipboard. "The Major wants to see you. His office when you're ready." Friedrich nods. He walks across the airfield, through the buildings, toward the warm room with the stolen desk and the cast-iron stove. His legs feel heavy, his feet like lead. He does not want to go in there. He does not want to see Brandt's face, to answer his questions, to pretend that everything is normal. But he goes. He is a soldier. He follows orders. Brandt is at his desk, as always, signing papers, moving through the endless bureaucracy of war. He looks up when Friedrich enters, studies his face for a long moment, then gestures to the chair. "Sit down, Lieutenant." Friedrich sits. The chair is hard, uncomfortable. He shifts, tries to find a position that does not make him feel like a schoolboy called before the headmaster. "Anything from the patrol?" Friedrich hesitates. 1 second. 2. Then, "No, Major. The drop zones are clear. No survivors sighted." Brandt watches him. His eyes are old, tired, knowing. "You flew for 3 hours. The fuel reports show you were airborne longer than the patrol required." "I was thorough. I wanted to be sure." "Sure of what?" Friedrich does not answer. He cannot. Brandt sets down his pen. He leans back in his chair, and for a moment he looks less like a major and more like a father, a grandfather, someone who has seen too much and regrets too little. "I was your age once," Brandt says. "I had ideals. I believed in things. The last war took most of them, and this war is taking the rest." He pauses. "There is a woman in the forest, isn't there? One you saw? One you did not kill?" Friedrich's face goes pale. He opens his mouth to deny it, to lie, to say anything, but no words come. "I am not asking," Brandt says. "I do not want to know. If you tell me, I will have to do something about it. So tell me nothing. Tell me the drop zones are clear. Tell me you saw nothing. Tell me whatever you need to tell me and then go to your quarters and think about what kind of soldier you want to be." Friedrich stares at him. "Major, Go." Friedrich stands. He salutes. He walks to the door. His hand is on the handle when Brandt speaks again, softer this time, almost gentle. "She will die anyway, you know." "If not by your hand, then by someone else's. The forest is full of hunters. And she is just one woman, alone, wounded, with nowhere to go. Whatever you think you saved today, you did not save anything." Friedrich leaves without looking back. He walks through the cold streets of the town, past the soldiers, past the civilians who look away when he passes, past everything. He reaches his quarters, closes the door, leans against it with his eyes closed. In his mind he sees her, walking, limping, drinking from the stream, kneeling in the grass beside something he could not see. Alive. Still alive. He takes the photograph from his nightstand and looks at it. His mother, his father, his sisters, all smiling at a picnic that happened years ago, before the war, before everything. He tries to imagine them in the forest, running, hiding, waiting to die. He cannot. The image will not form. He puts the photograph back, face up this time. He lies on his bed and stares at the ceiling and listens to the sounds of the town outside. Engines, voices, the ordinary noises of an ordinary day, in an extraordinary time. In the forest, Anna walks on. She does not know about the pilot who watched her, who followed her, who chose not to kill her. She knows only that she is tired, that she is hurt, that she is alone. She knows that night is coming again, and that she must find shelter, must find water, must find a way to survive one more day. She walks until she cannot walk anymore. Then she finds a place beneath a fallen tree, a hollow where the roots have created a small cave, and she crawls inside. She curls into a ball, her injured arm pressed against her chest, her rifle within reach, her medical bag tucked beneath her head like a pillow. She closes her eyes. She does not expect to sleep, but sleep comes anyway, dark and deep and without dreams. Above her, the stars come out. The same stars that shone through the open door of the plane, through the flak and the tracer fire and the screaming. The same stars that watched Zoya fall, that watched the nurse die against the tree, that watch everything and do nothing. The forest is quiet. The hunters are resting. The night is cold and long and full of waiting. Somewhere, in a warm room in an occupied town, a young pilot lies awake and wonders what he has done. And somewhere else, in a hollow beneath a fallen tree, a young woman sleeps and does not dream at all. The sound wakes her. It is not loud, not close, but it cuts through the layers of exhausted sleep like a knife through frozen flesh. Voices, men's voices, speaking German. Anna's eyes open in complete darkness. For one terrible second she does not know where she is, the hollow under the tree, the stream, the plain. All of them blend together in the fog of waking. Then her hand touches the rough bark above her, feels the cold earth beneath her, and she remembers. She is in a hole beneath a fallen tree, buried alive in darkness, and there are men outside. She does not move. She does not breathe. She lies perfectly still and listens. The voices are close, maybe 50 meters, maybe less. She can hear individual words now, though she does not understand them. German is just sounds to her, harsh and guttural, the language of the enemy. But she does not need to understand the words to understand the meaning. They are hunting. Boots crush through underbrush. Branches snap. Someone laughs, a short bark of amusement at something someone else said. They are not being quiet. They are not afraid. They are the hunters. And they know that somewhere in this forest there is prey. Anna's body begins to shake. She cannot stop it. The shaking starts in her legs and spreads upward. A violent trembling that she fights with every muscle, every thought, every prayer she can remember from childhood. If they come close, if they find her, the shaking will give her away. The trembling of the leaves above her, the tiny sounds her shaking body makes against the earth, they will hear. They will know. She bites down on her own hand, hard enough to draw blood, and focuses on the pain. The pain helps. The pain gives her something to hold on to. The voices move closer. She can hear them clearly now, just on the other side of the fallen tree. She can hear their boots, their breathing, the creak of leather, and the clink of metal against metal. They are so close that if she reached out, if the tree were not there, she could touch them. One of them stops. She hears him light a cigarette, the scratch of a match, the intake of breath. He says something to the others. They laugh again. Then he speaks longer. A sentence, a question maybe, and another voice answers. They are arguing. She can hear it in the tone, the rhythm. One of them wants to go back, wants to give up, thinks this is pointless. The other wants to keep going, wants to find something, wants to kill. The argument continues for what feels like hours, but is probably only minutes. Then there is a decision. Boots move away, crushing through the underbrush, growing fainter, fading into the general noise of the forest. Anna lies perfectly still for a very long time. When she finally moves, when she finally allows herself to breathe normally, her body is stiff and cold, and her hand is bleeding where she bit it. She crawls out from under the tree into gray morning light. The forest is empty. The voices are gone. She is alone again. She stands slowly, testing her injured leg, her injured shoulder. Both are worse than yesterday. The leg is swollen, the shoulder stiff and painful with every movement. She needs to find shelter, real shelter, somewhere she can rest for more than a few hours, somewhere she can tend to her wounds, and maybe figure out what to do next. She walks. The forest changes as she moves. The pines thin out, replaced by more birch, more open spaces. She avoids the open spaces, stays close to the trees, moves like the hunted animal she has become. Her progress is slow, painful, measured in tiny increments. Around midday, she finds a road. It is not a major road, just a dirt track, 2 ruts worn by wagon wheels, grass growing in the middle. But it is a road, and roads mean people, and people mean danger. She stays in the trees, follows it from a distance, watches for any sign of movement. The road leads to a village. She sees it from a ridge, hidden behind a screen of bushes. Maybe 20 houses, clustered around a central well. A church with a damaged spire. Gardens, animals, the ordinary shapes of rural life, and soldiers. German soldiers, 6 of them, sitting at a table outside one of the houses, drinking, smoking, laughing. Anna watches them for a long time. They are relaxed, careless. This is not the front line. This is a rear area, a place where soldiers come to rest, to forget, to pretend they are not at war. They have no idea she is here. They have no idea that 40 meters away, a woman they are ordered to kill is watching them through the leaves. She should go around. She knows this. The village means danger, means patrols, means dogs and questions and death. But she is so tired, so hungry, so thirsty. And somewhere in that village there is food, there is water, there is warmth. She does not go around. She waits. The afternoon passes slowly. The soldiers drink, play cards, argue about nothing. Some of them leave, others arrive. The light begins to fade, and then as darkness falls, they go inside. All of them. The village becomes quiet, the windows dark, the streets empty. Anna moves. She comes down from the ridge, crosses the open ground in a low crawl, reaches the first buildings. She moves from shadow to shadow, keeping low, keeping silent. Her heart pounds so hard. She is sure someone must hear it, must feel it, must know. She finds a well in the center of the village. There is a bucket, a rope. She lowers the bucket, pulls it up, drinks directly from it, letting the water run down her chin, her neck, her chest. She has never tasted anything so good. She fills her canteen. She looks around. There is a garden behind one of the houses. She can see vegetables, potatoes, carrots, something green. She moves toward it, crawls between the rows, pulls carrots from the cold earth with her bare hands. She eats them without cleaning them, dirt and all, chewing desperately, swallowing half-chewed chunks that hurt going down. Something moves in the darkness. Anna freezes. Her hand goes to her knife. A shape emerges from behind the house. Small, four-legged, a dog. It stops when it sees her, head cocked, watching. For one terrible moment, she thinks it will bark, will wake everyone, will bring the soldiers running. The dog whines softly. It takes a step toward her, then another. It is thin, hungry, abandoned. It wants what she has: food, warmth, someone to be near. Anna looks at the dog. The dog looks at her. She tears a piece of carrot in half and throws it toward him. He sniffs it, eats it, looks at her again. She throws another piece. He eats that too. Then she hears it. A door opening. Voices. The soldiers are coming out. She runs. She does not think about where, does not plan, just runs, crashing through the garden, over a fence, into the darkness beyond the village. Behind her, she hears shouting, hears the dog barking now, hears the chaos she has left behind. She does not stop running until her legs give out. She falls in a field, half frozen, half dead, lying in the stubble of harvested crops, staring up at the stars. She cannot run anymore. She cannot move. If they come, they come. She has nothing left. They do not come. She lies in the field for hours, shaking with cold, unable to get up, unable to do anything except wait for morning. When morning comes, she forces herself up, forces herself to move, forces herself to keep going. She walks all day. The forest returns. Welcome cover after the open fields. She finds another stream, drinks, rests, moves on. She does not know where she is going. She only knows that she must keep moving, must not stop, must not let them find her. In the late afternoon, she finds the boy. He is lying at the edge of a clearing, half hidden by ferns. For a moment, she thinks he is dead. Another body to add to the count. Then she sees his chest move. He is alive. She approaches carefully, ready to run, ready to fight. But he is just a boy, maybe 15, maybe younger, in the ragged clothes of a partisan. His leg is badly wounded, wrapped in bloody rags, the wrappings crude and ineffective. He is unconscious, his face flushed with fever. Anna kneels beside him. She touches his forehead. Burning. She looks around. No one. Nothing. Just the forest, the boy, and her. Her medical training takes over. It is automatic, something deeper than thought, deeper than fear. Her hands move, checking his pulse, his breathing, the wound. The wound is bad. A bullet, maybe shrapnel, days old and infected. He needs surgery, needs a real doctor, needs things she does not have. But she has morphine. She has bandages. She has clean water from the stream. She has hands that remember what to do. She works on him for an hour, cleaning the wound, wrapping it properly, giving him morphine to dull the pain and bring down the fever. He does not wake, but his breathing becomes easier, his pulse stronger. She has done what she can. Now she has to decide. She can leave him here. He will probably die, alone, in the ferns. She can stay with him, wait for help that may never come, risk being found by the hunters. She can try to move him, try to find his people, try to save him. She thinks about the nurse in the hollow, propped against the tree with her hands folded. She thinks about Zoya, face down in the stream. She thinks about all the bodies, all the dead, all the people who did not have anyone to help them. She stays. Night falls. She sits beside the boy, her rifle across her knees, listening to the forest. He wakes once briefly, his eyes unfocused, his lips moving. She gives him water. He drinks, looks at her, tries to speak. Then he sleeps again. In the morning he is better, still weak, still feverish, but conscious. He looks at her with eyes that are too old for his face. "Who are you?" he asks in Russian. His voice is a whisper, barely audible. "Someone who should keep moving," she says. "Someone who stayed." He tries to smile. It is a terrible effort. More grimace than smile, but it is something. "They killed everyone," he says. "My father, my mother, my sister. They burned the village. I ran. I ran for 3 days. Then I couldn't run anymore." Anna says nothing. There is nothing to say. "I'm going to die," he says. It is not a question. "Not yet," Anna says. "Not today." She helps him stand. He is light, so light. Nothing but bones and fever and determination. She puts his arm over her shoulder, takes his weight, and they begin to walk. It is slow, agonizing work. Every step costs him something, costs her something. But they move. They keep moving. Away from the village, away from the hunters, away from everything except the need to survive. By evening, they have gone perhaps 3 kilometers. The boy can go no further. They find shelter in a shallow cave, barely more than an overhang, and Anna settles him there. She gives him more morphine, more water. He sleeps. She does not sleep. She sits at the entrance to the cave, watching the darkness, listening to the forest. Somewhere out there, the hunters are still hunting. Somewhere out there, a pilot is flying, watching, deciding. Somewhere out there, the war continues without her, indifferent to her existence. But here, in this cave, a boy is alive because of her. A boy she did not know yesterday, did not owe anything, could have left to die. She stayed, she helped. She is still a nurse, still human, still something more than the hunted animal she has become. She does not know if this matters. She does not know if anything matters anymore. But she sits in the cave entrance, her rifle across her knees, and watches the night, and waits for morning. The boy breathes behind her, in and out, in and out. The sound is small, fragile, easily lost in the noise of the forest. But she hears it. She holds on to it. In the morning they will move again. They will keep moving, keep surviving, keep refusing to die. But that is tomorrow. Tonight there is only the darkness, the cold, and the small sound of breathing that means someone is still alive. The boy dies at dawn. Anna is holding his hand when it happens. She has been holding it for hours, through the night, through his fever dreams, and his whimpers, and his moments of terrified waking, when he did not know where he was. She held on, squeezed gently, whispered things that might have been words, or might have been just sounds. Anything to keep him tethered to the world. But the world does not want him. His breathing changes first, becomes shallow, irregular, with long pauses that make her hold her own breath, waiting for the next one. Then his eyes open, clear for the first time since she found him, and he looks at her. Really looks. He sees her. He tries to speak. His lips form a word, maybe a name, maybe a question. No sound comes out. His eyes hold hers for one long moment, and then they are not looking at anything anymore. Anna sits beside him for a long time after he stops breathing. She does not cry. She does not pray. She just sits, holding his hand, watching the light grow in the sky beyond the cave entrance. When she finally moves, her body is stiff and cold, and her injured shoulder screams with every motion. She arranges him as best she can, closes his eyes, folds his hands on his chest, covers him with her spare jacket, because she cannot bear to leave him uncovered. She takes nothing from him. He had nothing to take. She walks out of the cave into gray morning light and keeps walking. The forest is different today, darker, closer. The trees seem to press in from all sides, watching, waiting. She feels them, the eyes, even though she knows there are no eyes, knows she is alone, knows the dead do not watch. But she is not alone. She hears them before she sees them. Voices again, but different this time. Not the harsh, guttural of German, but something else. Something she almost recognizes. Russian. Men speaking Russian. She drops low, crawls to the edge of a ridge, looks down into a small valley. There are 6 of them. Men in a mix of uniforms, some German, some Soviet, most just civilian clothes with armbands or hats or something to mark them. They are sitting around a fire, eating, laughing, passing a bottle between them. Their rifles are propped against a tree close at hand. Ready? Partisans? No. Partisans would not be sitting in the open making noise, building fires. Partisans would be silent, hidden, afraid. These men are not afraid. These men are comfortable. Then she sees the armbands, white, with lettering she cannot read from this distance, but she does not need to read it. She knows what it means. Hiwi, Hilfswillige, volunteers, Russians fighting for the Germans, traitors, her people would call them, or collaborators, or just men who chose the winning side, who decided that survival mattered more than loyalty, who would do anything, betray anyone to stay alive. One of them stands, stretches, looks around. He is young, maybe 25, with a hard face and cold eyes. He looks directly at the ridge where Anna is hiding, looks directly at her. She freezes. She does not breathe. She becomes the earth, the leaves, the shadows. He looks away. He says something to the others, and they laugh. He sits back down. Anna does not move. She lies on the ridge, pressed into the dirt, and watches them for hours. They eat, they drink, they sleep. In the afternoon, 2 of them leave, walking into the forest in the direction she came from, hunting, looking for tracks, looking for her. She waits until dark. Then she moves. She goes around them, wide and slow, crawling through underbrush, through streams, through places where she leaves no tracks. It takes hours. Her injured leg screams. Her shoulder is a constant fire. But she moves, inch by inch, until she is past them, until the glow of their fire is just a distant memory in the darkness. She keeps moving through the night. She does not stop. She cannot stop. In the morning she finds the tracks, boot prints, fresh, moving in the same direction she is moving. She follows them cautiously, staying parallel, watching for any sign of the men who made them. She finds them at noon. 3 men. Not the same ones from the fire. These are different. German uniforms, but the faces are Russian. Young, hard, hungry. They are following something. Following someone. Following her. She watches them from cover. They move slowly, carefully, studying the ground. One of them is good at this. Very good. He finds signs she did not know she was leaving. Traces of her passage that she thought she had erased. He points, gestures, leads the others. They are maybe 2 hours behind her, maybe less. Anna turns and runs. She does not think about cover now, does not think about silence. She runs. Her leg burns, her shoulder screams, her breath tears at her throat. But she runs. Through clearings, through streams, through places that will leave tracks, because the only thing that matters is distance, is putting space between her and them. She runs until she cannot run anymore. Then she walks. Then she runs again. The afternoon passes in a blur of pain and terror. She does not know how far she has gone, how much ground she has covered. She only knows that when she stops to listen, she cannot hear them, cannot see them. Maybe she has lost them. Maybe she finds a place to hide as darkness falls, a dense thicket of young pines, so thick she has to crawl inside on her belly. She lies there, surrounded by green, hidden from everything, and tries to breathe. She does not sleep. She lies awake all night, listening, waiting, her hand on her knife. In the morning she hears them. Close. Too close. They are talking, not trying to be quiet. They know she is near. They can feel it. Anna does not move. She lies in the thicket, barely breathing, and listens to them pass within 10 meters of her hiding place. She sees their boots through the pine branches, sees the mud on them, the wear, the ordinary details of men who are looking for her, who want to kill her, who will find her if she makes one sound, one movement, one mistake. They pass. They keep going. Their voices fade. She waits an hour before she moves. Then she crawls out of the thicket and goes in the opposite direction. She walks for 3 days. She does not know how she survives those days. She finds water in streams and puddles in the hollows of trees. She finds food, berries, roots, once a bird's nest with eggs that she eats raw, shell and all. She sleeps in short bursts, always hidden, always listening. On the 3rd day, she finds the cabin. It is deep in the forest, far from any path, any road, any sign of human habitation. A small log cabin, old, abandoned. The roof has holes. The door hangs on one hinge. But it is shelter. It is walls. It is a place to stop. She approaches carefully, watching, listening, no sounds, no signs of recent use. She circles it twice before she goes in. Inside it is dark and cold and smells of rot. But there is a fireplace. There is a pile of old blankets in one corner, moldy but usable. There is a cache of canned food in a root cellar beneath the floor, old but still sealed, still edible. She stays. For 2 days, she does nothing but sleep and eat and tend to her wounds. She cleans the cut on her scalp properly, bandages it with supplies from her medical bag. She splints her injured leg, forces herself to rest it. She cannot do much about her shoulder except keep it immobile and hope it heals. On the 3rd day, she hears the aircraft. She goes outside, stands in the clearing, looks up. A Messerschmitt, flying low, circling directly above her. He sees her. She knows he sees her. The plane banks, comes around, passes low enough that she can see the pilot's face, see him looking at her. She does not run. She does not hide. She stands in the clearing and looks back at him, this hunter from the sky, this man who could kill her with a press of his thumb. The plane circles once more, twice, 3 times. Then it turns and flies away. Anna watches it until it disappears. She does not understand. She does not try to understand. She goes back inside the cabin and sits in the darkness and waits for whatever comes next. That night she dreams of Zoya, of the nurse against the tree, of the boy in the cave. They stand in a line watching her, saying nothing. Their eyes are empty. Their mouths are still. She wakes in darkness, sweating, shaking, alone. The cabin creaks around her. The wind whispers through the holes in the roof. Somewhere in the forest an owl calls, then falls silent. She lies in the darkness and listens to her own heart beating and wonders how many more nights she has left. The cabin door opens at dawn. Anna is awake. She is always awake now, sleeping in fragments, her hand always on the rifle, her ears always listening. She hears the creak of the hinge, the soft footstep on the wooden floor, and she is already moving, already rolling off the pile of blankets, already bringing the rifle up. He stands in the doorway, silhouetted against the gray morning light. Tall, young. In one hand, he holds a pistol, pointed at the ground. In the other, he holds something else, a loaf of bread, still fresh, still warm enough that she can smell it from across the room. They look at each other. He is the pilot. She knows this without knowing how. The shape of him, the way he moves, something in his eyes that she saw from the ground when his plane circled above her. He has come down from the sky. He has found her. For a long moment, neither of them moves. The rifle is aimed at his chest. The pistol is aimed at the floor. The bread steams gently in the cold air. He speaks first, in German. She does not understand the words, but she understands the tone. Quiet, careful, not threatening. She says nothing. Her finger rests on the trigger. He tries again. This time in Russian, heavily accented, the words awkward and slow. "I am not here to kill you." She stares at him. Her finger does not move. "If I wanted to kill you," he continues, struggling with the language, "I would have done it from the air. Many times. I saw you. Many times. I did not shoot." She remembers the plane circling, never firing. She remembers looking up at him, feeling seen, feeling judged, feeling something she could not name. She lowers the rifle slightly. Not all the way, but slightly. "Why?" she asks. Her voice is a croak, unused for days. He shakes his head. He does not have the words. He holds up the bread instead, offers it to her like a gift, like a peace offering, like something she does not understand. She does not take it. He sets it on the floor, just inside the door. Then he steps back, out of the cabin, into the clearing. He sets his pistol on the ground, well away from him, and stands there with his hands empty, waiting. Anna watches him through the open door. The rifle is still in her hands. She could kill him now, so easily. One shot, and the hunter becomes the hunted, becomes just another body in the forest, another name on a list somewhere. She does not shoot. She moves to the door, keeping the rifle between them, and looks at him in the full light of morning. He is younger than she expected. 22, maybe 23. His face is smooth, unmarked by the war except for the exhaustion in his eyes, the same exhaustion she sees in her own reflection when she finds still water. He is wearing the uniform of an enemy. He is carrying the weapons of an enemy. He is the enemy, but he brought bread, and he did not shoot. "Why are you here?" she asks again. He struggles with the words. His Russian is poor, pieced together from phrase books and prisoners, maybe. He gestures vaguely at the forest, at the sky, at himself. "I wanted to see," he says finally, "to see who I did not kill." She does not understand. She stares at him, waiting. He tries again. "I have orders. To kill people like you. Parachutists. Women. The order says you are not soldiers. Says you are something else. Something that does not deserve to live." He pauses, searching for words. "I have killed many people. From the air. Other pilots. Men in planes. That is war. But this..." He gestures at her, at the cabin, at everything. "This is different. This is not war. This is something else." Anna listens. The rifle is still in her hands, still pointed at him, but her finger has moved off the trigger. She does not know when that happened. "I followed you," he says. "From the air. For days. I watched you walk. I watched you find the dead nurse. I watched you find the boy. I watched you carry him. I watched him die." Anna's face does not change, but something inside her shifts. He saw. He was there, watching, all that time. He saw her at her weakest, at her most human, at her most broken. "You could have killed me," she says. "Any of those times. Why didn't you?" He looks at her for a long moment. His eyes are pale blue, almost colorless in the morning light. They are the eyes of someone who has seen too much, too young, and does not know what to do with any of it. "Because you were carrying him," he says. "Because you stayed with him. Because you are a nurse, and you stayed, and he died anyway, and you covered him with your jacket, so he would not be cold." He stops. His voice is thick, strange. "I have a sister. She is 14. She wants to be a nurse. She writes me letters about it. And I thought, if she were here, if she were you, if she were alone in this forest with people hunting her, I would want someone to see her, to see that she is a person, not just not just a target. The silence between them is absolute. No birds, no wind, nothing, just two people looking at each other across a few meters of frozen ground. Anna lowers the rifle. She does not point it at him anymore. She holds it at her side, ready, but not ready, waiting, but not waiting. "Come inside," she says. "It's cold." He hesitates, as if he cannot believe what he just heard. Then he picks up his pistol from the ground, and for a moment she tenses, raises the rifle again, but he does not point it at her. He tucks it into his belt, behind his back, out of sight, a gesture of trust, or at least of truce. He follows her into the cabin. Inside, the space is small, dark, crowded with the evidence of her survival. The pile of blankets where she sleeps, the empty cans from the food she found, the bandages, the medical supplies, the rifle always within reach. He sits on the floor because there is nowhere else to sit. She sits across from him, the rifle across her knees, watching him. They do not speak for a long time. Finally, he breaks the silence. "My name is Friedrich." She looks at him. A name. He has given her a name. This is what people do, she remembers. They give names. They become real to each other. "Anna," she says. He nods. He repeats it silently, his lips forming the shape of it. "Anna." "I have seen many things," he says slowly, struggling with the language. "This war. I thought it was about something, about Germany, about honor, about right and wrong, but now I do not know. Now I see that it is just killing, just death. And the people who give orders, they do not see what I see. They do not see you carrying the boy. They do not see the nurse against the tree. They just see numbers. Problems to be solved." Anna listens. She does not agree or disagree. She just listens. "There is an order," he continues, "from Berlin. It says that people like you, parachutists, women, medics, are not to be taken prisoner. They are to be killed on sight. No trials. No reports. Just killed. And buried. Or not buried. It does not matter." He looks at her, and there is something in his eyes that might be shame, might be fear, might be something else entirely. "I have not killed anyone under that order, not yet. But others have. The men who killed the nurse in the hollow, the ones who shot her and propped her against the tree, they were following that order. They thought they were doing the right thing. They thought she was not a person, not really. Just a problem." Anna thinks about the nurse, about her folded hands, her peaceful face, her wedding ring, about the photograph in her pocket, the smiling man who does not know he is a widower. "Why are you telling me this?" she asks. Friedrich looks at his hands. They are clean, well kept, the hands of a pilot who has never dug a grave or pulled a trigger on the ground. "Because I do not know what to do," he says. "Because I cannot go back to my base and pretend I did not see you. Because I cannot kill you, and I cannot save you, and I do not know what else there is." The confession hangs in the air between them. A German pilot admitting weakness to a Soviet nurse, an enemy asking for something she cannot give. "You could let me go," she says. "You could walk away. Forget you found me." "I could," he agrees. "But they will find you. The Hiwi, the volunteers, they are good at this. They have dogs now. They are following your tracks. They will be here by nightfall." Anna's blood goes cold. She thinks of the men she saw at the fire, the ones with the cold eyes and the Russian faces. She thinks of how close they came, how they passed within meters of her hiding place. They are still coming. They will always be coming. "How do you know this?" Because I saw them. From the air. They are 2 hours behind me, maybe less. She stands. The rifle is in her hands again, but not pointed at him. She is thinking, calculating, trying to find a way out of a trap that keeps closing. There is no way out, Friedrich says, as if reading her mind. The forest is surrounded. They have patrols on all sides. They know you are here. They have been driving you toward this place for days, pushing you, letting you tire yourself out. It is what they do. It is what I was supposed to help them do. She stares at him. You were hunting me. I was watching you, he says. There is a difference, I think. She does not know if there is a difference. She does not know if any of this matters. She only knows that outside this cabin, men are coming with dogs and rifles, and an order that says she does not deserve to live. I can help you, Friedrich says quietly. I think. Maybe. How? He stands. He moves to the door, looks out at the clearing, at the sky, at the forest that is closing in around them. I have a plane, he says. It is hidden, not far from here. A clearing I use for emergency landings. If we can get there, if we can get you in the air. He trails off, as if hearing how insane this sounds. You would fly me out? A Soviet nurse? In a German plane? I would fly you somewhere, he says. Somewhere safe. Across the lines, maybe. To your people. I do not know. I only know that I cannot let them kill you. I cannot. Anna looks at him. This stranger, this enemy, this boy who has been watching her for days, who brought her bread, who is offering her something she does not understand. Why? She asks again. The same question over and over, because nothing else makes sense. He turns to face her. His eyes are pale and young and full of something that might be hope, might be desperation, might be the last shred of humanity in a world that has forgotten what that word means. Because if I let them kill you, he says, then I am one of them. And I do not want to be one of them. I want to be something else, someone else. I do not know if that is possible, but I want to try. The cabin is silent. Outside, the forest waits. Somewhere in the trees, men are moving, dogs are tracking, death is coming. Anna looks at the rifle in her hands. She looks at the boy in the doorway. She thinks about Zoya, about the nurse, about the boy in the cave. She thinks about all the people who died while she watched, while she ran, while she survived. She makes a decision. Show me, she says. Show me this plane. Friedrich nods. He steps out of the cabin into the clearing, and she follows him, the rifle still in her hands, the forest closing in around them, the hunters drawing nearer with every passing moment. They walk into the trees together, enemy and enemy, stranger and stranger. Two people who should be killing each other, walking side by side toward something neither of them understands. Behind them, the cabin stands empty, waiting for the men who will arrive too late. Above them, the sky is gray and cold and full of clouds. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks. The forest is alive with sounds that do not belong. Anna hears them as she follows Friedrich through the trees. The distant barking of dogs, the crack of branches breaking under boots, the sharp calls of men communicating with each other across the distance. They are close now. Very close. The hunters have found the cabin, found her cold blankets and empty cans, and they are spreading out, searching, knowing she cannot have gone far. Friedrich moves quickly, confidently, as if he has walked this path many times. Perhaps he has. Perhaps this is not the first time he has come to this forest to watch, to wait, to decide. He does not look back to check if she is following. He does not need to. She is right behind him, matching his pace, her injured leg burning with every step, but refusing to give out. They come to a stream, and he follows it upstream, walking in the water to hide their tracks. She does the same, feeling the cold seep through her boots, through the bandages on her feet, through everything. The water is shallow but fast, and it numbs the pain in her leg, which is something at least. Behind them the dogs are louder now. They have reached the stream. They are casting about, confused by the water, losing the scent. But they will find it again. They always find it again. Friedrich stops at a fallen tree, half in the water, half out. He moves around it, then disappears. For one terrible second, Anna thinks he has abandoned her, tricked her, led her here to die. Then she sees the opening, a gap beneath the roots, hidden by the angle of the tree, invisible unless you know it is there. She follows him into darkness. The space beneath the roots is small, barely large enough for two people to crouch. It smells of wet earth and decay and something else, something metallic that she cannot place. Friedrich is already at the far end, pulling at something, pushing at something. There is a scraping sound, then light. He has opened a door, a hidden door built into the hillside leading into darkness beyond. This way, he whispers, and she follows. The tunnel is man-made, old, the walls braced with rotting timber. It slopes upward, then levels out. They move through it in darkness, feeling their way along the walls, their breathing loud in the enclosed space. Anna counts her steps to keep from panicking. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The tunnel ends at another door. Friedrich pushes it open, and they step out into a clearing. The plane is there. It is smaller than she expected. A Messerschmitt Bf 109, parked at the edge of the trees, covered with camouflage netting that Friedrich must have placed here himself some time before, preparing for this moment or some other moment he did not yet understand. The netting is covered with branches, with leaves, with everything needed to hide it from the air. From the ground, it is invisible until you are standing right next to it. Friedrich moves to the plane, begins pulling away the netting. His movements are quick, practiced, desperate. Anna stands at the edge of the clearing, watching the trees, listening to the sounds that are closer now, much closer. The dogs have found the stream again. They are coming. "I can take you as far as the front lines," Friedrich says as he works. "After that, you're on your own. I can't cross into your territory. They would shoot me down before I got within 10 kilometers. But I can get you close. Close enough to walk. Close enough to find your people." Anna says nothing. She is watching the trees, counting seconds, measuring distance. The netting is off. Friedrich climbs onto the wing, opens the cockpit, gestures for her to come. She does not move. "There is no time," he says. "They are almost here. You have to come now." She looks at him. This stranger, this enemy, this boy who has been watching her for days, who brought her bread, who is offering her something she still does not fully understand. "Why?" she asks, for the last time. He looks at her, and for a moment he is not a pilot, not a German, not an enemy. He is just a young man, far from home, trying to hold on to something he was taught was important, but is no longer sure he believes. "Because someone has to," he says. "Someone has to remember that we are people, all of us, even in this." She climbs onto the wing, He helps her into the cockpit, a space so small she has to fold herself into it, her injured leg screaming, her rifle awkward across her chest. He climbs into the pilot's seat in front of her, and suddenly they are connected. Two bodies in one machine, sharing the same small space, the same desperate hope. The engine coughs, sputters, roars to life. Through the trees, she sees them. Men, running, rifles raised, dogs straining at leashes. They have found the clearing. They have found the plane. Friedrich does not wait. The plane lurches forward, bouncing across the uneven ground, gathering speed. The trees rush past, too close, too fast. Anna closes her eyes. Gunfire. Bullets ping off the metal skin of the plane, 1, 2, 3. She feels something hit her seat, feels the vibration of impact, waits for the pain that means she has been hit. It does not come. The plane lifts, the trees fall away. The clearing becomes small, then smaller, then just a dot in the vast green carpet below. The men with rifles become invisible. The dogs become nothing. The forest becomes a map, a pattern, something seen from above, something that cannot hurt her anymore. Anna looks down as they climb. She sees the cabin where she hid, the stream where she drank, the clearing where the nurse died propped against a tree. She sees it all, small and distant, and already fading into memory. Friedrich flies east. The flight takes 40 minutes. Anna does not speak, and Friedrich does not speak. There is nothing to say. The engine roars around them, filling the space with noise that makes thought impossible, makes feeling impossible, makes everything except the present moment disappear. Below them, the landscape changes. Forest gives way to fields, fields to villages, villages to burned-out towns and craters and the scars of war. They are approaching the front lines. She can see it now. The line where the earth itself seems to have been torn open, where nothing grows, where nothing moves, except the tiny figures of soldiers who look like ants from this height, fighting and dying over patches of ground that will change hands again tomorrow. Friedrich points ahead. She follows his gesture and sees it. A break in the clouds, a patch of forest that looks like all the others but is different somehow. Her side, the Soviet side. "I can't go further," he shouts over the engine. "This is as close as I can get. There's a clearing below. You'll have to jump. Jump. Again." The word hits her like a physical blow. She thinks of the plane, the darkness, the women falling, the ones who did not survive. She thinks of Zoya, face down in the stream. She thinks of all of them, all the ones who jumped and never landed alive. But she is alive. She is still alive. Friedrich banks the plane, drops lower. Lower still. The clearing appears below them, small and green and waiting. He levels out, slows as much as he dares. "Now," he shouts. "Go now." Anna looks at the back of his head. This boy who saved her, this enemy who became something else. She wants to say something, some words, something that matters. But there is no time. There is never enough time. She climbs out of the cockpit onto the wing. The wind tears at her, tries to push her off, tries to kill her one last time. She clings to the metal, finds a handhold, looks down at the clearing rushing past below. She jumps. The fall is short this time, 50 feet, maybe less. She hits the ground hard, rolls, feels her injured leg explode with pain, feels something in her shoulder tear further. She lies in the grass, gasping, waiting for death or life or whatever comes next. Above her, the Messerschmitt climbs, turns, heads back west. She watches it until it is just a speck, then nothing. She is alone again. But this time, she is on her side. This time, the hunters are not coming. She lies in the clearing for a long time, unable to move, barely able to breathe. The sun moves across the sky. The grass whispers around her. Somewhere in the distance she hears voices, Russian voices, speaking her language, saying words she understands. They find her at dusk. A patrol, 3 soldiers, young and scared and ready to shoot anything that moves. They find her lying in the grass, half dead, still wearing the remnants of her uniform, still clutching her rifle. They do not shoot. They see her face, her wounds, her eyes. They see that she is one of them. They carry her to their camp. They give her water, food, a blanket. They ask questions she cannot answer yet. They call for a medic, a real medic, someone who can tend to her wounds. She lies on a cot in a tent and stares at the canvas above her and thinks about Friedrich, about the bread, about the plane, about the look in his eyes when he said someone has to remember. She does not know if he made it back. She does not know if anyone saw him fly east, if anyone reported him, if anyone will punish him for what he did. She does not know anything except that she is alive, and that she should not be, and that somewhere in the sky above the forest, a young man she will never see again is flying toward a future she cannot imagine. The medic comes. He is old, tired, overworked. He looks at her wounds, shakes his head, begins to work. She does not feel it. She is somewhere else, floating above herself, watching from a distance. Days pass, weeks. She heals. She answers questions. She tells them about the drop, about the forest, about the hunters. She does not tell them about Friedrich. She does not know why. Some things are too strange to explain. Some things are too precious to share. Winter comes. The war continues. She is sent to a hospital behind the lines, where her training is useful, where she can help. She works long shifts, tends to wounded men, writes letters for those who cannot write themselves. She does not think about the forest. She does not think about Zoya, or the nurse, or the boy in the cave. She does not think about Friedrich. But at night sometimes she dreams. She dreams of falling through darkness, of parachutes that do not open, of dogs and rifles and men with cold eyes. And in the dreams, always, there is a plane circling above her, watching, waiting, never firing. She wakes from these dreams with her heart pounding and her hand reaching for something that is not there. Spring comes. The war in Europe ends. There is celebration, madness, joy, and grief mixed together in ways no one can untangle. Anna walks through the streets of a ruined city and watches people embrace, weep, dance. She feels nothing. She feels everything. She does not know which. Years pass. She becomes a doctor, a real doctor, with a hospital and patients, and a life that looks normal from the outside. She marries, has children, grows old. She does not talk about the war. None of them do. But she keeps the photograph, the one she took from the dead nurse, the smiling man who never came home. She keeps it in a box with other things, a compass from Zoya's body, a piece of her own parachute, a loaf of bread she did not eat. And sometimes when she is alone, she takes out the photograph and looks at it. She thinks about the nurse, propped against the tree, her hands folded, her face peaceful. She thinks about the man who loved her, who probably died somewhere in this long and terrible war, never knowing what happened to his wife. She thinks about Friedrich, about his pale eyes and his awkward Russian, and his desperate need to be something other than what the war had made him. She wonders if he survived, if he went home. if he ever thinks about the woman he did not kill, she will never know. One night, late, long after her children are grown and her husband is dead, and she is old enough to have outlived almost everyone she loved, she sits alone in her apartment and looks at the photograph one last time. She holds it in her hands, these small hands that have held so many dying people, that have delivered so many babies, that have done so much good in a world that so often chooses evil. She thinks about the order from Berlin, the words she never saw but felt in every moment of those weeks in the forest. Female combatants. Do not qualify. Transportation impractical. She thinks about all the women who jumped, who fell, who died. She thinks about Zoya, about the nurse, about the ones whose names she never knew. She thinks about the boy in the cave, who died anyway, despite everything she did. She thinks about Friedrich, who chose to see her as a person, who chose to remember. She puts the photograph back in the box. She closes the lid. She sits in the darkness of her apartment, in the city that was rebuilt, in the world that went on, and she listens to the silence. Outside, the wind blows through the trees, the same wind that tore at her on the wing of the plane that carried her down into the forest, that watched her survive when so many did not. She is very old now. She will die soon. She knows this, accepts this, is almost ready for it. But not yet. Not quite yet. She stands, slowly, painfully, and walks to the window. She looks out at the night sky, at the stars that watched her fall, that watched her run, that watched her live. Somewhere, in another country, in another life, an old man might be looking at the same stars. A man with pale eyes and memories he does not speak of. A man who once flew a plane and made a choice and never knew what came of it. She does not know if he is there. She does not know if he survived. She does not know anything except that once, a long time ago in a forest full of death, someone chose to see her as human. That is enough. That has to be enough. The stars shine on, indifferent and eternal. Anna watches them for a long time. Then she closes the curtain, turns away, and goes to bed. In the forest, the trees have grown. The cabin has collapsed. The clearing where the plane waited has been swallowed by undergrowth. The bodies have returned to earth, become soil, become part of the ground that new trees grow from. Nothing remains. Nothing except the story, and the story is almost over. But not quite. Not yet.